I went out on Rod Laver Arena, millions watching in Australia and across the world with it, whether I was a size 22 or now a size 10. And I have always been the same person. I was estranged from my father for 10 years. When you're almost beaten to death by your parent, there's only so much you can do. I don't hate him, but at the same time, I don't necessarily have to forgive either. It's early, it's new, and he's incredibly kind and generous. And that's what I always said. I just want a really good person. And I'm glad I've been able to find that. To be honest with you, when this journey is over, I will die a very happy person.
It's been almost 25 years since Jelena Dokic first made headlines as a 16-year-old tennis prodigy, becoming world number 4 at the height of her career. But away from the court, she was living through years of abuse from her father and coach, Damir, alongside battles with body shaming and struggling with her mental health. But today, in 2025, her life looks a lot different. Just last month, she was centre stage at the Logies, delivering one of the most powerful moments of the night, when the documentary Unbreakable, based upon her memoir, won an award. On today's episode of Something to Talk About, Jelena joins me to reflect on the reaction to that Logie speech and her thoughts on the commentary about her quote-unquote glamorous appearance on the red carpet. She responds to the recent controversy over Serena Williams endorsing weight loss medication, how her experience as a survivor of family violence is driving her advocacy for young women, including a new campaign for World Vision, and on the first Father's Day since the death of her father earlier this year, she opens up about forgiveness and the complexities of grief. Jelena Dokic, welcome to the Stellar Podcast.
Thank you so much, Sarah. Thank you for having me. It's an honour to talk to you.
Honour is genuinely all mine, Jelena. You have been in Stellar many times and you and I have met in person. And I feel like I have a parasocial relationship with you. One of many people in Australia and around the world that probably feels that way about you. But it is really lovely to talk to you for the first time. And look, the podcast is called Something to Talk About. And you and I have a lot to talk about, including a new campaign for World Vision that you're part of in the lead up to International Day of the Girl next month. But I actually wanted to start, Jelena, if I can, with the Logies. TV's Night of Nights. All the stars of the country are there in the one room. And of course, Unbreakable, the Jelena Dokic Story won, and you took to the stage. And we were talking about it in Stellar HQ the next day and saying that was genuinely, not just saying this because I'm talking to you, it was very much the standout moment of the evening. I'd love to ask you how it felt to be in the middle of that moment and when your name was called.
Yeah, it was incredible. Actually, to be honest with you, I'm still in shock. I did not think it was possible to win. As soon as I found out that my documentary was nominated, I was over the moon. And I said to everyone, this is amazing. I'm nominated. It's great. And they said, well, yeah, but it's not over. You do have a chance to win. And I kept saying to everyone, no chance I'm going to win. I'm just so happy to be nominated. So to be honest with you, that was the feeling all the way up until about 15, 20 minutes before actual category was being announced. And then everyone kind of kept saying, have you got your speech ready? You're going to win this. And I kind of was looking at people going, everyone's quite sure I might actually have a chance here. And then I started kind of worrying about my speech. I said, no, I'm just going to stick with it. I'm going to have a speech prepared. I'm just going to wing it if I do win. But yeah, it was special. It was special to be a part of the Logies. And like I said, just even to be nominated, but to actually win, it means a lot because it's for the documentary and a project that we worked on for so long, but it's a much bigger meaning, to be honest with you, than me. It's about telling a story of multiple different things and layers that are so important in sport, but then also society, things that we definitely didn't talk about, even as far back as 10 years ago. And that might seem like it's a long time ago, but it's actually not. So to be actually now able to have that on screen and win awards and have so much recognition and be able to put it out there is massive. And for it to win as well, I feel like it's not for me. I feel like it's for every single other person that's maybe going through something similar. And this is for them to kind of feel like they're not alone and to have a voice. So it's very special to me that the documentary won a Logie.
It was a very powerful speech. No one watching it would have ever contemplated that you hadn't prepared it. What you talked about was similar to what you've just touched upon there, that it was really a moment where you were talking about the importance of that platform and having survivors and victim survivors being seen.
Well, it was a really important moment, I think, for me, as I said, altogether. And you know that I didn't prepare a speech when I don't mention my agent and my management company, because I never forget that. But other than that, I had no idea where I was going and what I was going to do, and it was all in the moment. And yeah, I'm very proud of the speech, and to be able to do it on such a big stage as well. And I think getting the massive attention, I think, from that speech, because of talking about those hard topics and the important conversations that we do need to have, again, not just in sport, but in society, and putting it in the forefront and giving it visibility, giving it a voice to try and actually raise awareness and create more education and actually be able to do something about it. So I'm glad that the whole, I think, speech, even towards Todd, because I think that's a massive message from so many levels and so many different layers to it, with Todd being a great, obviously, friend and mentor, helping me so much professionally, but then also personally, but then also to, I think, show that level of kindness and that we can be kind to each other. He was there for me as well. So I think that was a really important part of it as well. And yeah, I think the speech has a little bit for everyone. And I'm glad that it got the attention that it did. But for all of those reasons, from the topics that we talk about to kindness, to really going against the grain, and even creating a documentary that we wouldn't have created 10, 15 years ago. Even getting a book out there would be difficult, and to talk about it, to find your voice, to share your story, when there is so much judgment, shame and stigma in society, when you actually talk about child abuse, domestic violence, mental health also. So I feel like it got so much attention, but again, I put myself out of that. Yes, it was my story told on screen, but it's for everyone else that goes through things we still need to fix, things we still need to talk about. I think Todd is such a big, important aspect of that. That's why I said, I always say, be someone's Todd. It's just such a massive thing that professionally, just like I said in my speech, I couldn't string two sentences together. Had no social skills, didn't believe in myself after being a tennis player that I was capable of anything, really, but Todd did. So I think it's such a great example and such a great message to put out there on such an incredible platform.
It would be such a cliche for someone to say, do you still have those pinch me moments? But in terms of those places where you find yourself being on national TV as a commentator for Nine at the tennis, giving keynote speeches, publishing books, and then you're getting up there at a podium like the Logies and giving that speech. But also that's a big night in terms of fashion. Everyone does their red carpet carousels. You've got to walk that red carpet. I mean, talk about intimidating. That's a bit of a fashion runway. Do you still have moments, Jelena, where you're like, what am I doing here? How did this happen?
Yeah, I do, because I kind of always felt like, from even an early age, which might sound maybe kind of a little bit maybe strange, but I felt like tennis was my thing. I was talented and I felt like I was good at tennis. I was a good competitor. I always wanted to win. I think that gets you very far. I was a hard worker as well from a very young age. And I always felt like, okay, tennis is my thing. I'm good at tennis. I was successful from a very young age, successful professionally as well. But then when I retired, especially after you go through things that create so much trauma, I battled with my mental health, from depression to anxiety to PTSD. And when you almost take your own life at the age of 22, I was still so proud to get back to being a tennis player after that, to get to the quarterfinals of the Australian Open in 2009, that massive run as well. But again, I kind of felt like, okay, this is something I'm good at. This is my comfort zone. But then you retire at the age of 29 and you have no idea where you're going next, what you're good at. Can you make it in something else? What your identity is, even outside of tennis and being an athlete. So I would have to be honest, say that I'm more proud of every single thing I've done post tennis career, because like I said, Todd was the one that said that I can be a commentator and a host and a speaker, be able to write books and be an advocate and create all of these things that would make a difference to people's lives in the community as well. And to be honest with you, I did not see it. I didn't see it. I didn't believe it. I didn't know, not just whether I had a little bit of that talent to be able to do it. You also have to love what you do. So now I am extremely proud of, to be honest with you, everything I've done post tennis, because that's something for me that was so much more difficult than actually being a tennis player. And yeah, I'm really proud that I've been able to just get out there, get outside of my comfort zone, try things. Of course, I made mistakes. I failed, but I got back up and I used them as lessons as well. I wouldn't be here today. I really started from scratch, from zero, as a person, both, I would say, professionally and personally as well. So it's been about 10 years now where I've worked so much on myself, on my craft as well. And I had to also shift and find ways. I knew what I wanted to do, and I wanted to always find my voice. I wanted to share my story to try and help someone. Like I always say, I end my book Unbreakable, my first book, with the words, and very purposefully, that if sharing my story helps just one person, then it's mission accomplished. That's what I always wanted. That was my goal. So to have done that and pushed forward and pushed boundaries and gone to another book and documentary and being able to be a commentator and host and speaker and in so many different fields, I would have to say that's probably my biggest and proudest moment, but it's also the legacy that I'm trying to leave behind. Not just to maybe be an advocate and a spokesperson for so many people, for women, men as well, for kids also, for mental health, for domestic violence, but also for, I think, going through hardship and adversity, that you can be a victim, but then you can be a survivor. You can get to a stage where you're a thriver as well. That's my motto that I kind of stand by and live with, which is victim, survivor, and thriver. But most importantly, I went into everything going, I want to come out of this and I want to be someone that stands for something good, for kindness, the way that I carry myself, for grace, for dignity, for calling out, I think, a lot of things in society and in sport that are wrong that we do need to work on, but it's the way that we do it. And to, again, do it with absolutely no blame towards anyone, but more so, let's find solutions and let's do it with a smile on our face and kindness and be able to come out of the worst of circumstances and get back up, and that you can come out of it as a winner. I think ultimately I want to kind of be someone that's standing here today as a winner, that someone can maybe look to and go, you know what, she did it, I can do it as well. That was my goal, but also to do it with kindness and grace and dignity. And that's what I want to continue doing. And hopefully I've done that already, and I just want to continue doing that.
I think you definitely have done that. There's no question of that in my mind. And the word kindness that's come up already a few times in our conversation is a word that I think very erroneously can be mistaken for weakness. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to ask you about that, Jelena, because you have held your own and thrived in obviously very difficult personal circumstances, but also professionally in industries that are not traditionally famed for their kindness. Elite sport, not necessarily known. More, people don't necessarily think of that ultra competitiveness being conducive to kindness, and likewise working in the media and entertainment industry. What would you say to people that think kindness is code name for, a bit of a pushover or weak?
Oh, no, don't confuse my kindness for weakness, I always say. I think that, obviously that's often the narrative. I'm definitely, especially now where I am in my life, I can set boundaries and I can fight for what I need to fight for, including for myself, and I can still do it with kindness. But I always say, don't confuse my kindness with weakness. But at the same time, like you said, you're right. Whether it's elite sport or whether it's the media or the TV industry or any industry, really, I think it just in general, also our society, the way that we are. I definitely think that that's probably something that people have resonated with me so much, because I do talk about kindness so much, and that we can do different things and you can stand for different things and you can advocate and have a voice and go out there and do, I think, a lot of things in different fields, but do it with kindness. And I do that whether it's in commentating as well. I always say, I want to try and make a point, and I want to try and be also very kind to players, because, for example, you're not always going to have a great day and you're going to lose matches, but I always try and turn that into a positive, which is probably what people have resonated with, because we do live in, I think, quite a brutal world and brutal environments, and elite sport and professional tennis is one of them. But I wanted to bring something else to it as well. And I think also my fight when it comes to body shaming as well. I've done it with, again, something I really wanted to do. I wanted to do it in a nice way. I wanted to do it with kindness and grace and dignity again. And I think you can call it out and you can share your story and have an opinion on it and have your voice on it. But again, you can do it in a nice way. And I think, again, people have resonated with that because I've dealt with trolling and body shaming and bullies, but I've actually done it in a kind way, just asking everyone to think twice before they write something or say something about someone. And just that we look at those values that I think are much more important than what you look like on the outside, whether you're a good person, whether you're a hardworking person, whether you're kind as well. So I think that that's massively important. It's something I wanted to do. It was a big goal of mine, what I stand for, whether I'm a commentator or a speaker, whatever I wanted to always stand for something good. And that's probably what people have resonated with and what they really like, or certainly what I hear when I talk to people, and whether it's men or women or younger generation or older generation. So it makes me really happy that that's come through and that that's what they see and resonate with.
I think the issue of body shaming and calling that out and helping women know that they're not alone in refusing to be identified by their body shape, whatever that is. I remember a couple of years ago, Jelena, you said to Stella, I'm not defined by and I'm not my measurements. Sometimes it still can leave you incredulous that this is a discussion that women are still forced to have.
Well, especially, I think you would probably say women in the public eye. And when you've got a massive platform and a public profile, I almost feel like I have a much bigger platform than I had as a tennis player, even though I had to face criticism then about my size, whether I was too small or too big and so on. Absolutely. I feel like I'm definitely, and no one should be defined by their size or the number on the scale. And I've always said it and I will always say it. I went out on Rod Laver Arena, full Rod Laver Arena night sessions, 15,000 people and millions watching in Australia and across the world with it, whether I was a size 22 or now a size 10. And I have always been the same person and I will always do my job to the best of my ability. I'll be kind, and all of those values that I consider really important as a person were always there. And the biggest thing is as well, I never had a problem with it. No matter what size I was, I always went out there with my head held high, and I always will. But it was also the opinion of other people. And again, I'm facing that today, actually, whereas it's also not good enough if you're smaller. It's not good enough if you're bigger. You kind of feel like you're never going to make anyone happy. And I think that that's actually the really scary part and a really important message to focus on, especially with social media and the internet and being in the public eye, that actually, unfortunately, someone will always have something to say that's negative. And I think ultimately that's what I think we need to change, and the narrative around that. And I can't tell you how many people, but especially women and girls, have come up to me every time I've talked about body shaming, just so thankful that someone's even talking about it and putting it out there, because we get so much negativity and so many messages and so many people writing to us. No matter what we do, you kind of feel like you're not good enough. And I think it's an incredibly important topic to talk about, and it actually can really affect your mental health as well, and who we are, our confidence as well. I mean, I consider myself pretty strong and that I've got pretty thick skin, but I'd be lying if I didn't say some of those comments at times for a little bit, a minute or two, definitely still affected me. And that's why I decided to speak up, because you also never know what anyone's going through and how that might affect them in the long term. But ultimately, I just am just a big advocate of not judging people in general, no matter what you do, no matter what size you are. Everyone has the right to be who they are. And I think that judgment just needs to go away, no matter what industry we're talking about.
Because I was talking earlier, Jelena, about you at the Logies last month, and some of the headlines that were written about you on the red carpet, for instance, said you, quote, wowed fans with your glamorous look, quote. Now, I would just say to you, I do think that you wow fans with your glamorous look. And I think that you have at different points throughout your career. And I know every time you've been in Stella, you have, quote unquote, wowed fans with your glamorous look. And I can say none of it had anything to bloody do with what size clothing label happened to be stitched into the back of whatever you were wearing. Do you feel like something like that is a little bit coded, where people are saying, wow, fans with her glamorous look, or, flaunts her curves or whatever? We've got all these shorthand in the media, mainstream media, certainly, and on social, the way that we still weaponize women's bodies. How do you feel about something like that, where I would argue it really is just coded for commenting on your body looking different?
Perhaps for me, yeah. Now it is, because there's been a transformation. There's no doubt about that. From, again, I've just said it to you a couple of minutes ago, from size 22 to 10, for sure. But I think you can use those words, if you do use them, glamorous or beautiful, so for everyone, for every size. I don't think that it shouldn't really be there. Look, I love fashion. I love the different things I get to do. I think as an athlete sometimes, especially as a tennis player, you live in tennis shoes and running shoes. I almost didn't wear heels up until I stopped playing tennis. And today I literally live in them. So I'm actually very proud of that, because I couldn't walk in heels 8 years ago at all. But yeah, I think that, if we're coding it for someone maybe that's lost weight, or someone, I don't know, I just think it can be used for everyone, no matter what size you are, what you're wearing. I think we can use that for everyone, because I think the phrase is beautiful, I think, should be directed at the person. And it has nothing to do with what dress you're wearing, what makeup you've got on. So for me, I will always say thank you, but I say to everyone, and to every single person I work with, to my co-workers as well, and the girls that I work with as well as in wardrobes and hair and makeup, and everyone, that they're beautiful, and it doesn't matter what size you are. And I always also focus on the person as well. And I think deep down at the core, that's what's important. But at the same time, again, we talk about fashion, and obviously Stella being a massive part of that, and the covers. I absolutely love my photo shoots with Stella. But again, my last Stella cover that we did it going into my documentary, and I was, I can't exactly remember, but I was maybe a size 16. So, for me, it's the same feeling. I will go into it and I will still enjoy it, and I will still love fashion. It never depended on me being a certain size. I think fashion and style and anything that comes with that, you can wear, and you can feel the same, and you can feel amazing at any size. I don't think it should come down to your actual size, whether you're smaller or whether you're bigger.
As somebody that has used your platform so carefully and with real commitment to advocacy and starting conversations, and the campaigns that you take on, the World Vision one most recently, does that also extend, Jelena, to things that you won't participate in? I imagine people are putting sponsorships in front of you all the time, and there are things that aren't necessarily aligned to your values. I'm not asking you to call out brands or name names or anything, but I'm just interested generally, because again, I know that in terms of sponsorships, no doubt you are being inundated with things related to that. There's internationally, like Serena Williams made headlines recently. She's a spokesperson for a weight loss medication. Have there been opportunities like that have come your way in this era of your life that are simply not something that you want to participate in because of the advocacy and your values?
Yeah, of course. Everything that I do, and brands, companies that I work with, but even I'm on the speaking circuit and pretty much all year round, other than when I do commentary and TV. And it's also about the companies that I go and work with and speak for, and foundations and charities. Of course, it has to align with my values. There's no doubt about that. I'm not going to do something just for the sake of doing it as well. But at the same time, I think, you just mentioned Serena as well, and with the news that's come out about her, and using the GLP, is that what it's called?
That's
I think GLP-1. And I think that some people are praising her, and there's still a lot of judgment as well, which again, that's how we get to. Look, if something works for someone, and it's really changed their life, and especially if it's transformed their health and they feel like it's something for them, I don't think that people should be judgmental about that. And, at the same time, look, I'll do things that I feel like are right for me, that align with me and what I do, and the things that I advocate for. Of course, I will always push for things that have to do with equality, and I think women's rights and children especially, and young girls as well, domestic violence and mental health as well. That's something that I really stand for. Things that are very personal, also to me, personal stories as well. But yeah, look, I always take a look and see what I get, and I'm always very, very careful. Of course, I'm definitely not going to align myself with something that I truly don't believe in.
Something that I know you do believe in is World Vision's 1,000 Voices for 1,000 Girls campaign. And this is leading up to the International Day of the Girl, which falls on October 11. Jelena, what drew you to this campaign in terms of where that we are with young girls and women in 2025, as you and I are speaking here in Australia and then internationally? You've traveled the world, you've worked internationally throughout the course of your career. What do you think it means to be a girl in 2025?
Well, I think unfortunately it's still something that we have to talk about, and talk about openly, when it comes to equality and when it comes to rights and when it comes to having, I think, the tools and the education for girls and women to be able to have opportunities and ultimately have a brighter future. And this is, as soon as I saw this opportunity and to work with World Vision, and just an incredible campaign that really tries to really not just take care of girls, but actually to talk about the issues that girls face, and not just in Australia, but internationally as well. It is about not having education. It is about even being sold off, and early marriage and early pregnancy that can lead actually to death. And it happens a lot. So it's actually giving girls that opportunity to even have an education and to be able to have actually a safer, not just childhood, but life as well. And it's about making a generational change. So not just also for one person or one girl, but it's also doing it over a longer period of time, over multiple years, and creating a generational change where they will just have more opportunities and a safer future, really. And the campaign that's running right now, but officially, obviously the International Day of the Girl is in October, but some of the stories, the horrific stories that you read, and it's part of our campaign actually, that goes live. It's horrific, and it's something that I think, especially maybe in Australia at times, we don't think about that that's possible. But even in Australia, I think, yes, we are so far ahead of so many countries and other continents as well. But there's still a lot of inequality as well, and a lot of issues with education, and just less opportunity as well. But it's also, we have to talk about this, and we have to talk about the abuse part, and we have to talk about domestic violence as well, because the numbers show us that young girls and women are at a much higher risk as well, especially for that happening in families. There's also a massive cultural issue as well. I had that with my family. I come from a culture where that's normal to have a lot of abuse and a lot of shame towards girls and women. And we have a lot of that in Australia because we have different cultures that are like that as well. So this is a much bigger problem and issue that I think campaigns like World Vision really help to try and solve that. And a massive part of it is where people can actually sponsor a girl and be able to, for her to be able to have some of those crucial things that we sometimes maybe even take for granted. But even, like I said, just to have an education, it gives them a much higher percentage of not just survival and having a safer life, but also being able to go into life and being able to take care of themselves and have a much, much happier future.
Jelena, when I talk to people like yourself who have become really highly visible and powerful advocates in the space, I sometimes wonder about how people respond to you personally and how that sits with you. So if you are, at an event, you're delivering a keynote, and then people might have the opportunity to come and talk to you after, or whether you're simply trying to make your way, maybe through a shopping centre, meeting a friend for coffee, walking down a street. What is the response from people? Because I would imagine that safe space, you are somebody that would be that person for a lot of people. They might have genuinely felt inspired to identify what's happening in their own family if they've been a survivor of abuse and have a name on it, and then know that there's no stigma and shame. If you could speak up, maybe they can. Do you get approached a lot about it? And how do you find that? Because that, I mean, disclosure, it can take a real toll on the person that is being approached.
Yeah, look, I do get approached a lot. I sometimes say that people come up to me a lot more than they did at the height of my tennis career, which is really, really hard to believe. But I find it a massive, at the same time, honor and privilege and a responsibility in a good way, because that's what I love to do if I can help someone. If someone comes up to me and feels like they're comfortable to share my story, which a lot of people are, whether I'm at events or even if they just maybe see me at an airport, or even just whether something I've said or something that they've seen, and even with social media and Instagram, for example, which I really try to use for something positive, and the messages that I send and the things that I write in my posts are very personal to me, and I really put a lot of time and effort into that. It makes me emotional, to be honest. It is overwhelming in the most positive way, because then I feel like people connect with me and we can kind of share that experience together, but they feel safe, and they feel like they can come up to me and relatable, and that I've maybe done something good, that I've maybe inspired someone, or I've been able to speak up for someone that feels like they don't have a voice, or maybe someone that feels like they were alone, but maybe they read something or saw something that I did or said, and it made them feel better. So, look, it's an incredible honor and a privilege. I take it extremely seriously. It's a great responsibility in the most positive way. And to be honest with you, I do work a lot, and I can actually honestly say for myself that I thrive on work. I'm a bit of a workaholic, but also doing that, I feel like it's not work. It's a passion of mine. And what is there better than someone coming up to you and for them to say that you've inspired them in some way, or you've helped them in some way in their toughest moments. I go to bed every single night with my heart full, and I'm so grateful for that. And if I can continue doing that for every single day for the rest of my life, and maybe just that one person can come up to me and say that I've inspired them in some way or done something that was really positive in their life, then there's nothing better than that. And I can be incredibly tired or fatigued or something, but that passion and love for that to go to another event and to go and see more people that have been through maybe something tough, or maybe to try and share my story and hear other people share their story. You can never be, to be honest with you, too tired or fatigued for that. Just that incredible, I think, passion, emotion, happiness as well. At times there are tears as well. You get emotional, but just that connection that you get with people, and that you maybe help someone. If I can continue to have that for the rest of my life, on most days, I will, to be honest with you, when this journey is over, I will die a very happy person.
Well, you used the word legacy earlier, and I thought, my goodness, you're so young. You're only 42, but I do think you already have created that legacy of helping people feel seen and less alone. And you've used your own lived experience in the most powerful way. And clearly that's borne out by people feeling safe to come and speak to you all the time.
Yeah, thank you. I never thought I would talk about legacy at the age of 40, 42 now. But it's something it's incredibly important. And you get to kind of this journey in a stage where I didn't know where it would go, but it's been everything. And it's also been a healing journey for me also, that I've openly talked about, and talked about my mental health as well, very openly, and anything that I can stand for, anything where I can feel like someone that's in a vulnerable position, or someone that doesn't have a voice, where maybe I can help.
Jelena, do you mind if I ask you about your father? He passed away early this year in May. Yeah. It's the first Father's Day without him. Can I ask about your reflections on the role he plays in your life and your memories on this first Father's Day without him?
Yeah, look, the grief is complicated when you lose a parent that you've been estranged from. So for me, I was estranged from my father for 10 years. And even before that, everything that I went through because of my father, I never really felt like I had a parent or a father or really a family, and that I was loved and seen and I would say accepted, really. So I had to make that choice on what I do, where do I set the boundaries. And for me, it was after I retired from tennis and seeing that things didn't get better and that he wasn't going to change, and that you kind of can't really have a relationship with this person who's supposed to be actually your person that's going to protect you and love you and be there for you. So yeah, as hard as that was, I had to make that decision, and my life was better for it, because it was toxic to be in any kind of contact even with my father. So I've tried to reconcile, as we know. I've talked about that in my books as well. Once or twice with my father, I really gave it the best possible shot, because you always kind of feel like it's your family and maybe they will change and love you and accept you, but I never got that. And yeah, he passed away 2 months ago, and something that, I knew he was sick for a couple of months, but that's life. It is what it is. And for me, it came with a little bit of, I think, complicated feelings. And there's always, I think, going to be a little bit of, what if this was different, or the situation was different, or he was different, or if my life was different. But I don't like to at the same time do that and go back in the past, because that's not what my life was, period. I have to accept and face what it was. And that was that I faced an extremely huge amount of abuse from my father. And you do have to kind of sometimes get out of it and be a little bit maybe more rational than emotional. And when you're almost beaten to death by your parent, there's only so much you can do, and only, I think, so much feelings that you can have. But at the same time, I had to face that when that day happened, and it was complicated. It was a mixture of different emotions at the same time. But life goes on, and I know that I've done absolutely everything I can, and I've done everything I can for my father and my family as well, even from financial perspective as well. I've always been there. But I had to make that decision right after I turned 30 to not be in contact with my father anymore. And it is what it is, and life goes on. That was my story. That's my past. And you go on, don't you? You find a way to move on, whatever feelings you might have or questions, and think, what if something was different? You got to move on.
Absolutely. Thank you for that really beautiful answer. I think that, again, in keeping with your life's work, is making people feel a lot less alone and isolated in hearing that. And I think when you have an occasion like Father's Day, whatever it is, a lot of people can feel a little bit isolated.
Yeah, and I think it's okay to say that as well, because not everyone has the same life and story, and life is not sunshine and rainbows. But it's interesting, because this is a part of my speaking and my keynote presentations and my books as well. What I've always said, I actually don't hate my father. And sometimes people are shocked when I say that. I don't hate him. But at the same time, I don't necessarily have to forgive either. I think often we're taught we have to absolutely forgive, not for that person, but for us to be able to move on. But for me, it's more so, I don't hate him. I don't hate anyone. A lot of people even ask me about so many people that knew perhaps about the abuse I went through and so on. But I've always gone into everything. From my books, my documentary, you will never see me blame anyone or hear me blame anyone. Again, I come from a place of kindness. I could have easily been angry and bitter and resentful, but I didn't want to be that. I wanted to turn it, or the worst of circumstances, into actually something positive. I wanted to use it to drive me to create change, not just in my life, but in general for someone else. And I wanted to turn something bad into good. I never wanted to have that hate for anybody. In fact, I wanted the opposite. I wanted to come from a place of kindness. I don't think also long-term you can change and heal yourself, but even maybe help other people if you have that. And I wanted to really do it from kind of the goodness of my heart, with that kindness, and not hate anyone no matter what they've kind of done. And that's kind of, I think, what I stand for and hope to stand for, of someone that's gone through some of these bad things, but at the same time, really tries to have that smile on her face or on my face, and still try to go through life with positivity.
You definitely do. As we're wrapping up, you do seem to be in a really great place in your life. Is that, I know it can always look different from the outside, but is that a fair assessment?
Yes, I am. I could easily say that I'm the happiest I've ever been. There's no doubt about that, both privately, both professionally as well. I do always say, look, we're always a work in progress, and there's always space for growth, as well as healing as well. I'm someone who's also gone through a massive part of kind of my mental health journey for more than 2 decades as well, and also an eating disorder as well. So it's something that I kind of always say I'm working on it always, but I'm definitely, I could say now where I am, probably the wisest I've ever been. So we'll see. I just want to continue that. I want to enjoy life. I want to enjoy also all the work that I do, everything that I stand for, and just, keep going. I never know what's around the corner. I don't plan too many things. I do have goals and things I like to accomplish and dreams as well. But one thing I definitely know that I will always work hard. Even if I fall down, I'll get back up. And I'll always work hard, and I'll always kind of, I like to say I always hope to be unbreakable at the same time. But yeah, definitely the happiest I've ever been. There's no doubt about that.
Well, a couple of months ago, you gave your followers a glimpse of your personal life, posted photo of you with your new partner.
Yes.
I saw all the headlines everywhere, who is Jelena Dokic's new boyfriend? How was he used to the spotlight, the reflected glare of the spotlight? Is he going okay with here's the loss of anonymity begins now?
Yeah, I think he's not anonymous anymore. But yeah, we talk about that a lot, and just want to make sure that he's okay with that. And that's a priority, that he doesn't feel like this kind of huge privacy was invaded. It can be a shock for a person that's never been through that. For me, it's kind of like a good morning every day. I've been in the spotlight since the age of 12, so it's very different for me. But the most important thing is look, we're happy, and it's been for me a very different journey, and I've had to do a lot of healing, a lot of soul searching as well. Didn't really know what was next for me when it comes to my private life and being happy privately, and maybe finding love one day. I gave up on a lot of things, I think, personally as a woman as well, and had to decide on a few things, whether I wanted to be a mother, whether maybe I wanted to adopt as well. So I didn't know what was around the corner. So I'm really, really grateful, and I think really lucky to have found someone that I think I can be so happy with at the moment. And yes, it's early, it's new, but I think we really understand each other as well. And he's incredibly kind and generous. And that's what I always said. I just want a really good person, and I'm glad I've been able to find that. So yeah, we'll see what's next. We keep going, and we'll go from there.
Well, final question then. You've said you're never sure what's around the corner. Professionally, you're absolutely killing it. Obviously, the new campaign with World Vision said we'll still see you courtside. You're not on the court, but we see you there for every major tournament. You're there commentating, interviewing the players. We've seen a few women elite athletes globally making the quote unquote comeback. Is that something that you ever consider, Jelena? Do you think we might ever see you back, racket in hand, competing in the actual global, like?
Oh, you mean come back to tennis?
Absolutely.
Oh no. Maybe I will play an exhibition mixed doubles with Todd at the Australian Open. We always say we missed an opportunity to play mixed doubles together. So we would actually love to do that, but no, definitely not professional tennis. I think I made the right decision when I did. I had injuries, but also with my mental health where it was always going to be hard at that time to make a comeback. I made the right decision to put that aside, as hard as it was, and pretty much go into reinventing myself as a person, again, privately and professionally. So no, and I'm also, to be honest with you, so happy to change tennis shoes for heels these days. I'm in fields that I could only dream of being. So I hope to continue that. Commentary, TV, want to do a little bit more hosting. That's a big passion of mine, speaking as well. And actually, a third book is on the way. So actually, in a year, we're going to release, my third book. So I'm really, really excited about that. We're working on it hard now, really fully self-development. So I'm really excited about it. It's also nerve-wracking because when you've had 2 bestsellers and a best-selling documentary, you want to kind of keep that going. I'm excited about that one though. And look, I do still have some little goals that I secretly hope to maybe achieve, and I want to ultimately be able to maybe create even more of a difference and be able to be a part of a big organization maybe one day where I can maybe make that difference, whether that's something like Sport Integrity Australia or the Olympic Committee, or I think ultimately the biggest dream and a bucket list kind of, let's say, professionally item would be to work for the UN one day. So, those are some of my kind of little goals. Well, they're not so little, but some of the little things I keep in mind, and we'll see if that can happen. But yeah, I just keep going, keep doing what I'm doing. Even if I continue doing absolutely everything I'm doing right now for the next few years, I would be, absolutely thrilled with that.
And with an amazing legacy already to speak for it, while still only in your early 40s. Jelena, thank you so much for your time. It's been so fabulous to talk to you today. And I look forward, I can't wait to reading the third book and seeing you in the UN one day in those fabulous hills.
Thank you. And just, a reminder for everyone, if they can have a look at the World Vision campaign. It's something really special. You really can change and save a girl's life by sponsoring. And it doesn't take much, but it creates a big difference for a girl out there to be able to get education, to be able to get even simple things, and from clothing to hygiene, to be able to just have a better future, not be sold off as well. Early pregnancies lead to death, and there is so much of that happens as well. So if people that are watching get a chance, please check out the World Vision campaign. It's really something special, and we can save lives.
And people can find out more about World Vision's 1,000 Voices for 1,000 Girls campaign that Jelena was just talking about. And you can sponsor a girl before International Day of the Girl on the 11th of October. Go to worldvision.com.au and we will have a link to that in the show notes as well. Jelena, thanks again for your time, and all the best on the stellar cover shoot tomorrow. And of course, while people are listening, watching, reading this, they will be able to see the fabulous shots of you.
Yeah. And thank you so much. And I just want to say you've always been so lovely to me, and in person as well, and on social media. So it's an honor to have this conversation with you, and I hope we get to do it again.
I look forward to that, and genuinely the honor was all mine. Jelena Dokic, thanks so much.
Thank you.